Welcome to the Runna Podcast. I'm Ben, head coach.
And I'm Anya, international marathon runner, and we're proud to be the #1 rated running coaching service worldwide.
We'll be bringing insightful conversation with truly inspirational guests, as well as running tips and tricks for runners of all abilities. Hey James, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, mate. How are you?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Thanks for coming on the podcast. The first thing we'd love to know is what got you started moving your body at your day one?
So I guess I've kind of always been quite like sporty. My dad was always really sporty, so things like football was what I was doing growing up. And then we kind of got to it in like athletics and cross country. Quite quickly realised that cross country is just a horrendous sport to be involved with. So I kind of just focused on football for a while. And then running has always been a part of my life, but never serious in the way of like competing properly. And then, as most people probably know if you know me, my dad passed away, and then running became way more of like an outlet mentally. And then all the like sort of social media hype came along with like running 10Ks, marathons, half marathons, and I started getting a bit more competitive. So I guess that's kind of how movement has played a part in my life, but it's always been there. Mm-hmm. It's just its purpose in my life has definitely changed over time.
And so obviously the running's obviously grown meaningfully after, unfortunately, your dad passed away. You're, I guess, now in a position where I think you don't look like a conventional runner because you're jacked. Were you jacked when you started your running?
I've always been like a bigger build, I think. Like even when I was like when you're younger with your mates, you'd have like wrestling matches and stuff like that. Like I was always a bit on the thicker side. Mm-hmm. I think I haven't actually ever really touched on this, but I definitely went through a phase of like not an eating disorder, but I got really, really skinny because I wanted like abs, like your Steve Cook and stuff were. And then I was like, oh, actually, this is not what I want. And I started going to the gym, and then gym became my main focus. And I'd say from like 17, that's when I started really, really putting on size.
And what was the motivation? Was it to look, like you said, abs, or was it to look a certain way? Or
it was definitely aesthetics based.
Yeah.
100%. Like, I honestly believe that anyone who says they go to the gym purely for like non-aesthetic reasons is lying. Because it is like, regardless of what you think, it's an element of you that's like such a big part of your life. Like you want to feel confident in your body, and like being bigger does help with that initially.
And I think that like that point in time, like I think I have a very similar resonation with that, which is that like at 16, 17, when you June, start to like girls, whatever it is, you want to look great. June, we're probably very similar ages, looked up to someone like a Steve Cook.
No, exactly.
And then find running later.
Yeah. It's because Alex as well, like she always says that she got me just as I was sort of like getting into it as well. So before I was with Alex, I actually didn't really gym. And then as we got together, I was just sort of like going through this transitionary phase of getting bigger, and everyone was like, oh my God, James is getting bigger. And I was like, yeah, got there early on.
And I guess you started out with your intention to exercise and go to the gym to build muscle, build abs, look great, attract girls, whatever it's going to be. Yeah. Did that change over your journey in the gym?
Obviously I've been with Alex quite a long time, so we've been together for like almost 9 years now. So in terms of getting girls, that wasn't like the main reason. But in terms of just like looking good and feeling confident and like going on holidays and wanting to look a certain way, yes, it stayed that way for quite a long time. And even now, it's still like I like the fact that I look good when I take my top off and stuff like that. But going to the gym now is just such an important part of my day in general to help me concentrate and like anchor me and all that kind of stuff. That's so much wider than just having a good body now. But that is still an element. Like I won't lie and say it's not about vanity, because a lot of it is.
And so obviously you found running when you really needed it at a really hard point in your life. Was it that running gave you endorphins in a way that the gym didn't? Or like, do you feel a difference between running and the gym? And is that why running kind of helped you and been such a crux thereafter?
Yeah, massively. I think like the whole kind of like the way people train in the gym has definitely changed now that CrossFit and functional fitness has become more of a thing. So the highs you get from your training sessions have definitely now changed. So like if I have a hard session in the gym, it's similar to what a run is now, because I'll have like a HIIT session, or I'll do a high rock style based like session. But running, just being outdoors in your own head and not really thinking about anything else, there's just something magical about that. And I'm sure you've had so many people say that, but there's a reason everyone runs, to sort of like get out of their like mind and into their body. I don't think weight training can give you that.
Well, I think, you can go for an easy run and you still get that same like endorphin rush or just like sense of gratitude. Whereas like if you do an easy session in the gym, you're just a bit like, well, that was a waste of my time.
Yeah.
Did you ever think that your social media, when you started sharing your fitness on social media, would just be like gym based rather than running?
So I started social media initially like 6 years ago, and it was like pure gym based, like just lifting weights in the gym, going through sessions. And at that point, I didn't really know what the intention was. It was just to kind of do something new, and delete after like 3 months. It was tiny. And then this one I started because initially I just wanted to get free stuff. Like I was just so fed up of seeing people get like free running shoes, and I was spending a fortune. And then it just became way more sort of like introspective and like thinking about like more meaningful things. And yeah, it just kind of evolved. Like I wouldn't even call myself a running account anymore. Like it's such a massive part of my life, but it's really just become like a way of documenting my life, which I'm just really happy about.
I think also like looking at you sharing your journey and going through what you've gone through and sharing that so transparently is definitely unique to some extent, and it's definitely really valuable for the other people who've been going through their own hard times to be able to see a strong man be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I think that's definitely probably why also you're so well followed and everything else, because it's a unique perspective that is also resonates with so many people in a way that most people choose not to share.
Yeah.
Is that something that you like almost did by accident, or?
So I've never been like a man's man
No.
in the typical sense. Like I've always been a bit like, I don't know what the right word is, like fruity. I don't want to say fruity, but like I've always had that element of me, which is like way more sort of just like in touch with my emotions. Like don't get me wrong, there are times where I'll just sort of like put a wall up and it'll be like blank. And Alex has helped me kind of deal with that over time. But I've always been sort of quite an emotional person anyway. I don't really know how it kind of evolved to where it is now. I think just people really resonated with it. And I realized that the thoughts I was having were quite normal. And sort of like not feeling like you're enough sometimes and all that kind of thing.
And I think also on social media, where I think conventionally it's so much like a best moments reel, where everyone only shares the very best and smiles in every photo and looks their best angle and everything else. Like I think it's so endearing to be able to show the moments when you're not feeling your best, because people feel the full range of emotions.
I think it's hard because I initially kind of my social media lifted off when I started doing grief-based like content and stuff about my mental health, which is a massive element of my life, don't get me wrong. But like I am a happy person like 90% of the time. And like there was a time where I felt like I actually couldn't show that on social media because it wasn't expected. Like I was meant to be the deep, meaningful person. I think it goes both ways. Like, yeah, okay, it's really good to show them emotions, but like that's just one tiny part of like my entire life.
But I think that's also where you're sharing an honest view of your life, which means people trust you and enjoy following your running journey, your strength journey, and your personal journey, because you'll share the days when you're feeling delighted for finishing a marathon or getting a session in or going out for a lovely dinner with Alex, but you'll also share the days where you're questioning everything and why the world spins the way it does.
Yeah, that's true. To be honest, I don't think I don't share that much in general. And like in the grand scheme of things on social media, I probably post like once or twice a week, a few stories here and there. I think I've said to a few people before that like in like a cruel twist of fate, if I hadn't done social media full time, I probably would have deleted it. Like I genuinely believe that. Like I'm quite like a private person. Like I have a really addictive personality, and Alex and I at the moment are having this conversation where I get so like caught up in everything, like the data behind it and all that kind of thing, that it's impacting so many things around me. Like, you know, Alex is kind of growing her own social media right now, which is absolutely incredible. My whole life at the moment is social media from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed. And so we're kind of trying to navigate that at the moment.
Did you consider that like being an issue when you gave up your full-time job?
Yeah, we knew it was a risk.
Yeah.
But it was one of them things where like the corporate doors like kind of revolving. So if it doesn't work out after a year, I could try and go back, and it wouldn't be the end of the world. And there was so many opportunities that I couldn't have done it if I'd have been working full time at that point. Yeah, we knew it would be hard, and we knew social media would be like one of the biggest challenges, because like on one hand you've got exposure to so many people, so your life's not even private anymore.
No, it's crazy.
And I guess you've also now gone on to doing setting up your own run club and doing connecting with people in a digital and an in-person way. And I guess like not only is it an industry or a job to some extent now that means you can provide for yourself and your future self, but you're actually able to like genuinely help people by them resonating with your journey, you inspiring them with your fitness and your running journey, and also meeting them in person and showing that as well.
Yeah, PB and Jam's amazing. I think what I keep saying to people is, when you look at run clubs, like for example Pure Sport as like an example, run clubs are just a vehicle to bring a community together. There's so many different things you can do with that isn't run club based. So that's kind of what I see PB and Jam as, is like, yeah, we started off as a run club to bring people together, but we have so many different things that we want to do next year that don't necessarily like associate with running. That's not always going to be an element, don't get me wrong, but like it's just a way to bring people together to then do other things.
And I guess like the world has evolved quite quickly, I guess, looking back at the last like 10 years, I guess, like people probably used to go to the pub and find all their friends there. And obviously the pub hasn't gone extinct, but I guess with like people becoming maybe more aware of health and also tech moving forwards, that now people don't meet their future girlfriends in the pub. Instead they meet them on dating apps. That like, I guess having like a central place that kind of adapts to people becoming more interested in health, which might be a run club. And then also people trying to meet people in real life. The common theme is that they have some interest in exercise and maybe like running. But actually that leads to then organic friendship groups growing and everything else.
I think I saw a quote the other day that was like, your friends don't necessarily, just because you've known someone for a long time, it doesn't mean they're the right person for you. It's those people who are just understanding of kind of what you're like, what you're going through. And I've just found that people who come to these things are in a similar mindset. They kind of have similar philosophies. And that's just why you've got these brand new friendship groups forming at like 25 to 30 years old that just you might not have had previously. Like I do feel like our parents were friends with their like university mates throughout their whole life, and then it maybe changed to people who were like in a local kind of environment where they lived like in their housing, but they didn't have the same kind of access we had to like young people.
I mean, like I can very much look at my friends. The people I made friends with at school have the surnames adjacent to mine, which is why we put all in the same like group of classes. And then with them, some of them had lots in common with me, and we became long-term friends. And the ones that are still super close with me are the ones that we've adapted our interests together. And the ones whose interests have adapted differently, we're no longer as close. And I think that's the point, is that you can actually recognize that you can find people with mutual interests later in life, and they might be a more compatible friend than actually just the person with the alphabetical letter in the same age group and the same area of school that you went to.
No, I agree. I think I did a reel the other day about like sort of with Alex and stuff, where like as in a relationship, you're obviously going to grow as individuals, and that might be slightly different paths, but as long as the sort of like, so say for example, I picked up running and Alex didn't want to do that. If she had an equivalent outlet, then it doesn't necessarily have to be running for us to like get on at the same rate we were before. But if it's something that's not similar at all, or she doesn't want to sort of spend her time doing something when I'm running, that's when we grow apart. I think it's just the same with any kind of relationship. Is that you need that sort of anchor point.
Well, it's the values as well. I think like you value health, you value your mental health, both of which running fixes or helps. And I guess like if she was to choose to pick up at the same time gambling, which is like a polar opposite, you're going to evolve your life in one way and she's going to evolve hers in the other, and you're going to come back after your session running and her session gambling, and you're probably going to feel that you are less connected. Whereas at the same time, if she was to progress something that is productive for her health and her mental health and gives her an outlet, you're going to come back together and be able to share and excitingly chat through how you got on your run and how she got on with her thing that is in the same parallel.
I agree.
You go.
No, which happened in New York. We both ran New York, but you and Alex, was that the first marathon you've done together?
Yeah, well, we didn't run it together.
But you both did the same race.
Yeah, both did the same race. I was honestly so nervous for her, like way more nervous than I was for myself. It's like Alex just gets in her own head about these races, and she's so capable. But Alex is a massive perfectionist, so when she like just sets a time or like something's not going right, she just starts to panic. But yeah, she absolutely loved it. Like, I've never seen her kind of be so proud of herself. And she's done some amazing things for her life, so that's really saying a lot.
No, she's great. Can we go back to the start of your racing? Do you remember your first race that you did, and did that encourage you to want to do more?
So my first race was, I think, Sheffield half marathon during university. I didn't really properly train for it, to be honest. I got injured the week before. I think I got like an hour, 34 minutes or something like that.
That's still really fast.
I know, and Sheffield was like really hilly at the time, but I just had no concept of time at that point. Like I just knew I was a relatively athletic individual, and half marathon was quite a far distance. And I finished that and I was like, yeah, that was sick. But like it was at the point where I think COVID was quite close afterwards, so there weren't any races for a while. And I just picked it up as like more of a hobby. And then actually just stopped running for a bit because I was in a bit of a gym phase again. And then my dad passed away and I went for a run the next day and I was like, fuck, I've missed this so much. And the week after there was Sheffield half marathon again. So I did that with like no training, got an hour 34 once again. But I was in a pit by the end of it. Like I had goosebumps because my body was like rejecting the fact I was like working so hard. And after that, that was when I really started getting into running again, and I got the enjoyment for races.
Yeah.
But I honestly believe that like I'm just built for anything less than 10k. Like, marathon distances just destroy me every time.
Was Cologne this year your first marathon?
No, so I did London Marathon 2023
Okay.
was my first, and that was like 3 hours 30 seconds. So I just missed out on sub 3. If I'd got that, I would have just been like one and done, like no more. And then obviously chased it again for Cologne. My program just didn't go to plan because I sort of rotated my shoes too frequently and got shin splints. Took out the shoes. They went within like 2 weeks.
You didn't take out the shoes and just run barefoot. You mean
No.
You aligned on one?
On a few pairs of shoes, and kept them to what I knew. And then, but it was just a bit too late for Cologne. Didn't have the distance in my legs, and then kind of blew up at like 32k. I also went in injured as well because I had like plantar fasciitis or whatever it's called. And got like 3 hours 6 minutes. So they're like the 2 that I've raced, and then I've done like 2 more that have just been like chilled. But every single time I'm like, I get to 20k, I'm like, I've got everything I want from this race. Like I've ran a long distance, I've had the crowd, I've got the enjoyment from it, and I'm like, oh fuck, I want to have a 20k to run.
Because I remember, I think maybe the first time we ran together as a 3, you two did some intervals together, and I think I was running a little slower with someone else. And I knew at the time, Anya has ran a 2:34 marathon.
Yeah.
James has run a 3-hour marathon.
Yeah.
James is training really well, but Anya will be a really good person to push James to maybe run a little faster. I don't think I've ever seen Anya trail behind someone where you looked so happy and she looked so awful in a workout before. So clearly you might be right that you are skewed slightly towards
I think I've got
shorter
top end
stuff with,
speed.
well, you just got incredible power, right?
Yeah, it's good top end speed. Like in my football days, my athletics, like I always did the sort of short distances. Like I was 800 meter runner, used to do 100 meters. So like top end speed's there. It's just I can't maintain it for like more than probably like 5 or 10k. And I know that's something I can train into myself, so it's fine. But like, I just, with the weight I currently am, it's not really conducive with what I want from it.
And so obviously you found that running after your dad passed became such a great outlet. You obviously did that half marathon and you've gone on to do so much since. What is it about running that makes you happiest? Is it going out and doing a really hard session where you've got absolutely nothing left to give? Is it finding a really beautiful route and running an easy run, running with friends? Like what? Or is it all of them?
I think it's everything. Like the beauty of running is there's just so much you can do in it. And it's just so tangible. It's like I was always a data-driven individual, which is why, like I said, I struggled with social media. So be able to see like my heart rate, sort of like how it peaks when I'm doing like an 800 meter interval, how it recovers so quickly. There's just so many elements of it that you can sort of hone in on. And also like I always thought there's no point just being like big and strong if you're not actually fit as an individual, which I think is why High Rocks has like taken off so massively, because you've got these people who are just in ridiculous shape, like can run so quick but are also incredibly strong. I think running, if done well, can just complement everything in your life.
Yeah.
And like I want to be one of them dads where like I can run with my son when I want to. I can do
You're
like
basically
a half
training
marathon.
to win sports day.
Yeah, basically.
The dads and lads race.
Yeah.
And so I guess maybe like the data piece is so interesting because I guess that's also something you don't get in the gym. Do you mean you can go and write down in your little scrapbook how many reps you did of 100 kilos for your bench press, whatever. But I guess presumably almost your entire running journey is logged on a smartwatch or on your Strava account.
Yeah. And it's just way more granular. Like, maybe I bench press 100 kg for 5 reps, but that's kind of
like,
where
so
it
what?
stops. Like you maybe have like an RPE is like your other scale, like how I perceive exertion. But running just gives me so much more.
Do you still gym as much as you used to? Do you think, would you ever, because I don't gym as much because I'm like, that will affect my running negatively. Like I'll get DOMs. Which do you almost put first now?
So my like gym journey's changed massively. So like it started off as being pure bodybuilding, and that was like 6 days a week, like push pull legs, classic like bro split.
Did you ever do a bodybuilding competition?
No, I would never do it. Like I am relatively sort of like egotistical, but I don't want to put my body through that to the point where it gets to like 5% body fat.
Yeah.
I've seen people do it. I've seen mates do it, and it's just not worthwhile in my opinion. Like I can sort of stay around maybe like 10 to 11% body fat and be relatively lean, and I'm so happy that like I can eat whatever I want. Like Alex and I have chocolate most nights, we have pizza at weekends. Like I'm just happy. I still feel like I look good. Like, there's just no need for me to do a bodybuilding show. But so bodybuilding was kind of how I started. That was 6 days a week, and then running maybe like once or twice just for like the thrill of it. Running became a massive part, so running's now maybe like 4 to 5 times a week, and gym's gone down to like maybe 3. I feel like what people don't understand is like your people like Nick Bear and these people who are like your go-to hybrid athletes lifted for like 10 years before they started properly running, so they had a substantial amount of muscle. I'm not saying I'm nowhere near his size, but like I got to the point where it was more about just maintenance. Like I didn't care about getting bigger. So I can get what I want from 2 to 3 sessions a week.
Yeah.
And I don't really get DOMs unless I properly push myself now in my sessions.
Yeah.
I don't want to either.
And have you changed the structure of those sessions? Like, is the goal now being strong to avoid getting injured with your running, or is the goal doing hypertrophy? Like, what are you doing within your gym work?
Performance based. So
Okay.
it's not hypertrophy anymore. Like that might be part of it because I'm just stimulating my muscles in different ways by doing like Olympic lifting and stuff like that. But a lot of it's just performance based. There'll be some elements that are still like for injury prevention. So I'll do things like Copenhagen planks and stuff like that to help with like the adductors. But a lot of it is
when you say
performance-based.
performance, you mean performance towards high rocks competitions?
Yes,
Yeah.
primarily. Well, because I feel like high rocks is generally one of them things where your top tier high rocks athletes will run an incredible 10K, 5K, 10K half marathon time, and they'll still be able to lift a lot of weight and they still look good doing it. Like that's everything I want from sport. Is to
So
be
it's
able
almost
to-
that like high rocks is a indirect association with what you want to achieve. So
Yeah.
by then training for high rocks, you actually achieve what
everything
you're
else I
trying to
want.
achieve. Yeah.
Exactly that. Like I can have the muscle that I want, but I'm still lean. And if you ask me tomorrow to run a 10K in like a fast time, I could do it. It's literally
So
everything.
if you were to try and summarize, like, I mean, you've learned so much from your fitness journey in terms of how it makes you healthier physically and mentally. What's your like fitness goal moving forwards, or your health goal moving forwards? Like, what do you want to achieve from the relentless training routine that you put yourself in?
It's hard because like I think that just comes back to what I want out of life, and like fitness is a massive part of my life. But I realized like this year, I don't really want to compete at the top tier ends of like these like events. Like I want to turn up and show that I'm good at my sport, but I'd rather build an incredible business that I'm doing day to day rather than spending like killing myself 3-4 hours a day training.
So it's to be happy.
So just to be happy.
And
but also
what does
fit.
that look like? As in, is happy doing
tell you something
training like you're doing most days or every day, getting
Yeah.
some movement in, and being able to do any hard challenge on any given day, whether that's a marathon
Pretty
or whether
much,
that's a high rocks, but
Yeah.
you don't need to win them.
Yes. So it's sort of like it's getting my training in every day because it's so important to me, but it's not killing myself enough that I can't give my time to other things like my business ideas, Alex, my friends, and then being able to be like, someone comes up to me, got a high rocks next week, do you fancy it? And I'm in a position where I'm like, yeah, because I train like that all the time. That's kind of how.
I feel like I could like jump into your shoes, because I feel like we have a very similar journey
Yeah,
of
we
like
do.
the gym, and then in terms of as a goal, I
Yeah.
think I'm the same. I want to have a amazing business and get to help loads of people through that.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to do an Ironman tomorrow
Yeah.
and be fast and kind of look okay,
Yeah.
but I don't need to win anything.
No, it's exactly that. And like eventually I will do stuff like Ironmans and stuff like that, but they take so much time out of your life to like be able to do them. And there's so many things I want to do before I do that. Like I'm only about to turn 27. Got so many years to be able to still do that.
Yeah.
And like you said, when we have our conversations, like you build your base over years and years and years. Like I'm only just going to get better and better over time anyway. So
And it's almost like, I think there's two ways to train for an Ironman. And I think you're doing it in the way that I like to do it, which is that by having your long-term goal of just be a really strong, healthy, happy person, you're going to cycle quite consistently. You're going to run quite consistently. You're going to go to the gym quite consistently to be happy, which will mean that in like 2 or 3 years, you could be on the start line of an Ironman, like without it needing to have been your goal. Like your life facilitates you being able to complete an Ironman one day. Versus some people sign up to an Ironman, they completely change their life and they train like a madman
And they fall off a
or
cliff.
woman, and then they get there, they complete it, and they're like, "Oh, that was absolutely awful. I'm not doing that again." Now I can go back to my normal life. And I think like it's a much more sustainable way to work towards something, which is the goal is almost like something that you can complete as a indirect
Byproduct,
achievement of like the way that you've lived your life.
Yeah, agreed. Massively.
So you're not gonna go for sub 3?
No, I will. I can't let that go. But I think after these, like, because obviously I've done like 3 marathons in 3 months. I just need like maybe a year or 2 just to kind of chill. I've not really had like an off season in a while.
Yeah.
I think we haven't really touched on it, but like obviously social media means people are constantly doing these things and you get dragged into it. But I just want to give my body a bit of a rest and just focus on like building myself rather than having to go. Because I don't really struggle for motivation in terms of like going to the gym and working out. So I don't need to have a marathon in 6 months to be able to like do what I need to do. But I will come back for sub 3.
And what does it mean for you to have an off season? Because like it's something that I think about as well. Like I choose never to stop training because training makes me happy.
Yeah.
But it means that like I never, unless I'm injured, would not go running in a week or not go cycling in a week.
Yeah.
Like what does your vision for an off season look like? Are you going to keep running? Are you going to go to the gym?
So I'll
and you're gonna
still
cycle?
train the way I am training, but there'll just be more periodization to it, I think. So like obviously when you've got like a block of 12 to 16 weeks, like you have your sort of deload weeks and stuff like that, which is great, but you're still gradually upping your intensity. I think it just gives me more flexibility to be like, okay, I just need 2 weeks where my training is just maintaining and not necessarily pushing anything.
So you're going to have a period of time where you just keep things stable.
Yeah.
You don't put any pressure on what you're trying to achieve and just like run, gym, exercise for fun.
Yeah. And it's still structured, don't get me wrong. Like I still have a purpose behind it. I'll still have sessions, but there's no sort of like overarching aim. And if I'm really tired and I miss a session, like I'm not.
And I think there's like two different types of, well, there's thousands, but like two kind of main different types of personalities when it comes to like motivation to go and exercise. You've kind of got people who need to be given some exercise, and that's where a coach comes in and pushes them out the door, and they need to sign up for a goal, etc. And then you've got the other type of person like yourself who almost needs to be like grounded, or you'll go and run around like a crazy energetic puppy who go and do 101 things. And you probably just need a few weeks or a period of time where you calm it down. Don't put your pressure on yourself with a goal like that.
No, exactly. And like using things like Runna to just be able to do like a 10K race, like I can make that as hard or as easy as I want. But just having them plans and knowing that I've got certain elements that I can pick and choose from, that just helps me.
If you want to pace me for any track sessions in your off season, I'm keen.
Fine. You can do my longer runs then.
Yeah.
And I guess where we're sitting right now, so we're a few weeks after having just run the New York Marathon, and we've got only a few weeks until the Hawaii Marathon. So you're very much going to be ready for a feet up over Christmas, right?
Yeah, so the intention is to hopefully, because I'm doing a high rocks the week before the Hawaii Marathon, but hopefully it shouldn't be too bad. It's more of like a run out rather than like a really send it. But then I'm going to give myself 2-3 weeks over Christmas where I'm just not much intensity, just chill. My CNS needs time to recover. Like my heart rate still hasn't properly recovered from Cologne on my easy runs. Like it's still not getting lower than it was before. So yeah, just feet up for a bit, chill, not put pressure on myself, eat a lot of food. Yeah. Go from there.
Christmas Day park run?
So interesting. Sheffield doesn't really have so it doesn't have park runs on Christmas Day, but Mary McCarthy, who I think you guys know obviously, we're going to go on like a 16K run on Christmas Day. So nice. It's a nice way to start the day, isn't it?
Fancy dress?
We'll probably end up wearing Santa hats, to be honest, at some point. Yeah. Yeah. You know what Mary's like. She always has that kind of thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, with that in mind, we're going to segue over to Steph, who's going to come in with our coaching tip of the week.
My top tip today is on breathing. During our easy runs, our breathing should feel relaxed and steady, as we should be able to chat along as we're going. But during those faster running sessions, our breathing rate is going to increase. If our breaths become quite short and sharp, it makes it harder for the oxygen to get into our muscles, which can then lead to slowing down our performance. Try next time when you feel like your breath is getting shorter, your chest is tightening, to focus on deep, relaxed and even breaths. This will really help the session feel more relaxed.
Thank you very much for that, Steph. We are back, and on the topic of Christmas, this episode is going out just before Christmas, so we thought we would wear some Santa hats. So, Annie, this is for you.
Thank you.
And we're going to have a slightly Christmas-themed second half to our conversation with you, James.
Really don't suit me.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Okay, I have got a little dilemma discussion sent in from one of our runners for us to have a little ponder about. I always feel like my training plan goes out the window in December, as there are way more social plans in the diary. I have time away with my family. What are your tips for staying on track during a busy holiday season?
Oh, do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you can go first.
Well, I think almost exactly like we've been talking about already, I think the first thing we want to do is actually think about our year holistically and be prepared to have phases where we're training harder and also training less hard. And it may well be the case that if you're trying to maintain the level of vigor that you've been giving to your trainer all year round, and in Christmas it's really hard because you're spending more time with your friends.
I can't take you seriously with your heart like that.
I'm saying I can't look at the bed.
I know.
I just realised we're all in Santa
So it's a really
hats.
valid point. I just like
just throw your trainer out the window, eat turkey. Right, James, your ideas? No, but I think be prepared to accept that you don't need to be like training as relentlessly all year round. And if you've got time off work, you've got And I can't take myself seriously. You got some more time off work, more time with family, maybe eating a bit more, going out celebrating more. It could be a good time to reduce your training load. And when you're then thinking about your goals for the year, maybe don't put a race in January because you know that you won't be perfectly trained for it. And it's really good for us to take time where we're reducing the intensity of our training so that hopefully we love our training. If our training is this annoying thing we've got to somehow squeeze in at the crack of dawn around all our Christmas plans when we're hungover or whatever it's going to be, we might then resent our training come the end of Christmas, and then we're not going to be setting ourselves up for doing a great year ahead. So I would say first of all, go into it making sure that you're actually doing what you want to be doing. And then I guess to keep ourselves accountable, Christmas can be a really great time to go and do more training with your friends. Do you mean go and do a Christmas Day park run? Do you mean you're moving back home from where you work back to your family place for a few weeks or whatever it's going to be? Maybe that could be an opportunity to go running with your school friends or whatever it's going to be. So don't be afraid to use the time to make your training more sociable as a way to keep you more accountable as well.
Yeah. I think if you just look at it like you taper for races for 2 weeks and you don't lose that much fitness. So just think of it like that. Like you're not going to be losing too much over a 2-3 week period as long as you're kind of doing a decent amount. There's no need to kill yourself.
So basically, do James's 2-week Christmas taper and then smash a New Year's Day park run.
Yeah. Just go into New Year and hit it hard. That's what New Year's resolutions are for, right?
Nice. Oh, so actually get really unfit in December. So then you can have a great glow up in January.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like
got it. And you any extra tips?
No, I think you both hit the nail on the head.
Okay, fantastic. Right, James, well, we're going to come in with our this or that.
Cool.
Would you rather run your next marathon in a full-on Santa costume or every training run for a year? And when I say full-on Santa costume, you're like pillows stuffed in, like full-on like hot, sweaty Santa
Tommy
outfit.
Trees-esque,
Yeah.
In Honolulu.
Oh, God. Okay.
Or would you rather do every training run for a year wearing a little pair of antlers?
Oh, antlers.
What? So like in June 2025, you're going running.
Like a headband type.
Yeah, with like antlers.
Yeah, I have long hair anyway. I'd do that.
You know, just like...
You said little pair of antlers.
No,
yeah,
okay, they're light, they're not that inconvenient, but you will be wearing them all year.
Yeah.
You go on holiday.
Yeah, I don't get embarrassed that easily, it's fine. Whereas the Santa costume would just be pure hell for like a marathon. I already hate marathons as it is, so why would I make it even worse?
What if you were running under a low bridge and your antlers hit them? Would that not be... You can't run under a low bridge.
I'm 5'10", it's quite a low bridge. It's fine.
What about a little branch in Bouncy Park?
Am I getting quizzed on my answer?
Well, I'm just checking. You thought this through. That was a quick decision.
Antlers, yeah.
What about you, Anya?
Santa costume, for sure.
Yeah, I think Santa costume.
Really? 42k and you're just hot and sweaty in Honolulu?
I could maybe try and get a Santa record.
1 day of misery, a year. One year of misery, 1 day of happiness. Oh, sorry. Yeah, one day of misery or a year of sadness.
No, but
why do you have to be sad though? Because you're wearing. Why do you have to wear?
Okay,
that could be my favorite animal.
Are they your favorite animal?
No,
but it's a little inconvenient for a whole year.
It is, but my hair's quite long, so I have to wear something to hold it back anyway.
You've gone back to Sheffield.
You're changing the question.
No. I'm just making you like think about it. You've gone back to Sheffield to run 16k, and you left your antlers in London. You now can't go running.
Oh, but that's a different kind of question.
No, same question. You need your antlers.
No,
every
because now
day.
you're saying I can't run full stop.
Yeah, you cannot run without your antlers for a year.
Well, I'd put a pair of antlers in every single place I'd possibly be.
Okay. Sounds like there's no convincing you. Right. Okay, very good. We'll be giving you your antlers as a going away present from today's recording.
Nice.
Right. Would you rather fuel your marathons from now on only with mince pies or have to eat Christmas pudding for lunch every day for a month?
I hate Christmas pudding, mince pies.
For your next marathon?
Yeah, that's fine.
I love mince pies.
Well, I'm not racing it, so I don't really care if I'm like.
Oh, actually,
not
so
fueled
it might make the marathon better.
Yeah.
And do you have your mince pies like plain or with like brandy butter or
just plain?
Just plain. A bit
Yeah.
dry.
My nan makes some mean mince pies.
Have you had one yet this year?
No, not yet.
I
When I go
haven't
home
either.
in like 2-3 weeks.
So is it like December the 1st or
What, when we have mince pies?
when they can come out?
Honestly,
or are you like?
I'd have them year round.
Or are you Christmas tunes in the bath from November the 1st?
No, I think sort of like November 15th. Alex's birthday for me is like the cut-off point for when Christmas then starts.
Okay, because it'd be a bit rude to be celebrating
Yeah,
Jesus'
yeah,
birthday
shouldn't
when
like
Alex
that.
hasn't been
Yeah.
celebrated.
Exactly. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Nice. Would you rather... These are getting more and more ridiculous. Would you rather have jingle bells strapped to your shoes for every run in December, or it literally snows immediately before every run? So for the whole of December, you have these shoes that jingle jangle every time you...
But do I have to run outside when it snows? Can I go on a treadmill?
Yes. So you're running in December
Yeah.
for the month ahead, and you have these jingly jangly shoes, like a little tambourine attached to your heels. So everyone
But I'm
hears you
wearing
coming.
normal running shoes. They're just an
Yeah, but they're
attachment.
you've basically got these really loud shoes.
Okay.
Or as soon as you go running, it's literally just done like a big downpour of snow, and now it's snowing outside.
To the point where I can't run.
You can run, but you probably don't want to be doing your 800-meter intervals on tarmac in Battersea Park.
Probably should wear bells, to be honest. Again, embarrassment factor I don't really care about.
It's so annoying.
Oh, I think I would definitely take the snow, because then you can finish a run and then just go sledging.
Are you just going opposite to whatever I choose?
No. I'm playing devil's advocate, clearly.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I think also the snow would be great, because when you're all sweaty, you're going to have a shower anyway, you're also quite warm.
Yeah,
So
true.
then little sledging around, and then
I
you go have your
just
shower.
I hate snow.
You hate snow?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Not as
Maybe
in
we
like,
should have given you a Grinch hat,
as in
not a Santa hat.
As in I like snow, like when it's like falling and it's great, but the aftermath of snow I just hate. And I
Okay.
grew up in Sheffield.
So
where
what
it
you
snowed all the
want
time.
is it to be snowing, but Battersea Park to have underfloor heating.
Oh, wonderful! Yeah,
Because then you get the beauty of snow, but no
Yeah.
landing on the
yeah,
floor.
I like that question. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, snow.
So you like snow in the air, not on the floor.
Yeah.
Interesting. Anya, are you a jingly jangly shoes, or are you a snow before you run?
I'm already a jingle jangly shoes.
With all your bracelets and earrings.
No, I put my keys. I put my keys on my shoe. I put them on my shoelace, so I'm always jingle jangle.
What, just so that people know the
Dude,
Anya,
why
the
do
Anya
you do
Cunning is
that?
coming up behind you?
Girls just don't have any pockets,
Fair.
and I just tuck them in my shoelaces and attach it to my shoe.
Fair.
Yeah, they rattle less actually.
Wow.
Okay.
There we go. Anya, do you want to ask James our
Yes.
final question?
We have a closing question for you, James. Okay. You're designing your dream race. What is the event? Where is it? What food and drink is being served? And who is presenting your award at the end?
Oh, 10K distance is definitely my favourite. It's not quite long enough that you can die if you go out too hot. But
You did one like
it's-
last week.
Yeah, the Fulham 10K. That was
Nice.
so enjoyable, actually.
Yeah.
Just because it was quite close, quite convenient. I wasn't like absolutely sending it. So 10K distance, where? Good question. I think for the Strava map, it would have to be like a lovely circular route where there's no like tight corners like Hackney Half or anything like that.
Yeah,
Um,
not Cologne.
yeah, I'm trying to
one
think.
lap or lots of laps?
I think one lap, maybe 2 laps. I could do max, but I think 1 lap would be ideal.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure on like where the location would be for that.
Is it flat?
Yeah, definitely.
Is it tarmac?
Yes, I don't mind a bit of off road. To be
Okay.
fair, maybe like Richmond Park style, but flat. Where you maybe have a few bit of the off roads. That's quite nice. Where you've got like deer and stuff that you can look at as well and like take in the beauty.
Nice.
What was the rest of the question?
Well, they would actually be matching you with your antlers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What food and drinks? What food and drink is being served at the finish line, and who's giving the award?
Vitamin Well, hashtag sponsored for the drinks. Food, I would just say something that's quite easy to eat. It's not like too difficult. Maybe like Haribo's or something.
Is it
just
your
to get some
go-to
sugar.
after race snack?
Well, to be fair, my
You
go-to
literally
after
could
race.
have post-race, like,
So
Ro-
Coca-Cola and a smoothie is like my go-to post-run race like combo,
Mm-hmm.
just for like recovery and stuff like that. Obviously, that's not like after
you
the
don't want
race.
like a pizza or a kebab or
No,
something.
I don't
Okay.
have like much of an appetite straight after the
Okay.
run. Like I always have to wait quite a while for that to be the case.
So we're having Coca-Cola and Haribo.
Yeah, probably. That'd be
Served
right.
to you along with your medal by who?
You're basically asking me like who my biggest inspo is.
Yeah.
Just to be alive and just to be alive.
Anyone?
Yeah, my dad.
Oh.
I thought you were going to say that.
Yeah, definitely do my dad.
That'd be a really cool 10K.
Yeah, I would.
Sign me up.
And would you race it or would you run it for fun?
I'd probably treat it as like a session, but not race it. Like
Nice.
I really enjoy 10K's distance, like for sessions. Get everything I want out of it.
Nice.
Amazing.
That is amazing. Well, James, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your journey. And it's honestly been amazing to get to watch you and sharing all of your lessons. And we cannot wait to see how you get on with your life and your fitness journey here on After.
Cool. Thanks for having me, guys.
And have a very happy Christmas.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Runna. If you want to train for any goal, download the app today. And don't forget, you can use the code Runna Podcast for a 2-week free trial.
Whether you enjoyed the episode or not, please like, share, follow, subscribe, do all of that nonsense, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening. Whether your friends have been naughty or nice this year and you're thinking of getting them a Christmas present, we thought we'd let you all know that we do have Runna gift cards available on our website. So if you want to buy a friend a 3-month, a 6-month, or a 12-month membership, you can do so at www.runna.com/store.
And over on our website, we've also got all of our amazing Runner merch, which you could gift someone. And if you use the code XMASPodcast, all one word, you can get 15% off.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.